أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين وإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي لا تؤاخذني مما يقولون واغفر لي ما لا يعلمون واجعلني خيرا مما يظنون. Ahmad. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to the house of dua. Welcome to the platform from which you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about His creation, about His message, about His messenger, and of course about His chosen religion known as Al-Islam. Welcome to the channel from which you learn how to live happily in the world we live and how to prepare now so that you can live a better life and happier life when you meet Allah on the day of accountability. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, today we are coming to you with a point that we need to ponder about. Something amazing that all of us need to sit down and reflect upon from time to time. We are coming to you with verses 94 of Surah Al-An'am and 48 of Surah Al-Kahf. In these two verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has posed a question that all of us are bound to be confronted with when we meet Allah on the day of accountability. In Surah Al-An'am, which is chapter 6 of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared, Bada'uzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادَى كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَتَرَكْتُم مَّا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِكُمْ وَمَا نَرَىٰ مَعَكُمْ شُفَعَاءَكُمُ الَّذِينَ زَعَمْتُمْ أَنَّكُمْ فِيهِمْ شُرَكَاءُ لَقَدْ تَقَطَّعَ بَيْنَكُمْ وَضَلَّ عَنكُم مَّا كُنتُمْ تَزْعُمُونَ. And in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated, لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ بَلْ زَعَمْتُمْ أَلَّن نَّجْعَلَ لَكُم مَّوْعِدًا. On the day of accountability, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will declare to all of us, man and woman, believer and non-believer. Just ponder a minute and think of that gathering of the entire mankind, those of us who are living now, and those of us who lived before, and those who will live long after we are gone. A huge gathering. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will declare, you have come to me barefooted, bare-bodied. You have come to me empty-handed, the same way I sent you to dunya empty-handed. In the hadith narrated by Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma, he reported that one day the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam gave a khutbah in which he reminded the audience that a day was coming known as the Day of Judgment, when each and every one of us will stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bare-bodied, empty-handed, and without clothing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will declare, you have come to me empty-handed, the same way I sent you to dunya empty-handed. At the end of the khutbah, Aisha radiallahu anha, who had the message, asked her husband, my dear husband, do you mean that on that day, man and woman will appear before Allah naked, bare-bodied, without covering? Won't that be too gross? Won't that be too ugly? How are we going to look at one another on that day? Then the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam reminded her of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in Surah Abbas. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الصَّاخَّةُ يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. On that day, man will be so occupied with his or her own problems and anxiety of what was going to happen to him or her, that he or she will not have time to look at another person to know whether that person was naked or bare-bodied. On that day, the man will flee from his parents, from his children, from his wives. He will not be able to recognize one another. It's going to be an awful day, my dear brothers, my dear sisters. Why do we think that we need to ponder about this? It's the reality of what we find in life. There are several contradictions about ourselves as human beings in terms of how we live on this planet. But the most surprising and confusing contradiction is no other one but our unlimited disposition towards the pursuit of materialism of this world, compared to the inevitable reality that, in spite of the fact that we labor so hard and we love these possessions so much, and we spend time, energy, and skills to acquire them, the actual reality is we are going to leave them behind when we are going back to Allah for accountability. Imagine that, my dear brothers, my dear sisters. Take a look at the environment around you. The plains, the mountains, the valleys, the deserts, the land, the seas. Take a look at the cities around you. Take a look at the roads. Take a look at the urban centers. Take a look at the rural areas. Take a look at your bedroom. Ask yourself, who is the owner of these possessions? For how long shall I keep them? Where are we going to with them? Take a look at the skyscrapers that have dotted the entire cities of the world. This earth was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala empty before He brought us here as children of Adam to domicile. Now we have dotted it with buildings, with businesses, with all kinds of habitations or things of pleasure that we have acquired as human beings. And the race continues. Each one tries to outbeat the other. A competition for the materialism of this world. But just at the point when we say, you know what, yes, I'm almost there, then death comes. Then those possessions that we labored for, we invested in, we spent time for, and energy and skill, suddenly leave them behind. For whom? It's not our wish to leave them behind. It's not our wish to leave them behind, because if it were permissible for you to take them beyond the surface of this planet, many of us would have loved to do that. But we have no choice in the matter. In the first instance, those things do not belong to our here. And secondly, you misunderstood why you were here in the first instance. The purpose of your existence here was to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah has permitted you to seek your means of livelihood and enjoyment in the planet. I've not created man and jinn for any other purpose except to worship me. And Surah Al-Mulk says, you are free to traverse the planet the way you like, eat and enjoy yourself. But remember, you are coming back to Allah for accountability. While we are here, we do the opposite. We fail to realize that we are going back to Allah for accountability. We fail to realize that we are here to worship Allah alone. We fail to realize that the day we were born, we came naked, empty-handed, with nothing. And that we are surely going to go back with nothing as well. These thoughts don't occur to us when we are in material pursuit in dunya. And just as we think we are about to be there, death comes. Then we leave those possessions for those who do not know the purpose for which we acquired them, how much time we spent, and how much sleepless nights we had in acquiring them. Such people come around, either use well or abuse such things that you left behind. Then the reality sets in when you meet Allah on the day of accountability. Or even before then, while you are still in the barzakh or in the grave, the reality sets in. What are those possessions that you love so much that you left Allah? You didn't worship Him. You didn't think of investing in the Akhirah. In Surah Al-Hashr, Allah says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqula wa tanzur nafsun ma qaddamat ligadi wa taqula inna Allaha khabirun bima ta'malun wa la takunu kallazina nasu Allaha fansahum anfusahum ulaika humul fasiqun. Oh, you who believe, be mindful of Allah. Be mindful of Allah. And right now, be mindful of what you send forward that will be of benefit to you when you meet Allah on the day of accountability. Don't be among those who forget about your meeting Allah. As a result of which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them to forget about themselves, about the fact that they will be questioned on the day of accountability. Don't be like such people, for they are rebellious. How many of us listen to such warnings right now that we are still alive? The race is there, trying to outbid one another. The race is there for materialism of this world, for buildings, for children, for women, for businesses, for profits. That's what mankind is possessed by. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encapsulated this ugly disposition of man in several surahs and verses of the Quran. Let's listen to Surah Al-Adiyat and Surah At-Takathur and Surah Al-Asr. Allah says, وَلِعَادِيَاتِ ضَبْوًا فَلِمُورِيَاتِ كَدْحًا فَلِمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا فَأَثَرْنَ بِهِ نَقْعًا فَوَسَطْنَ بِهِ جَمْعًا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لِرَبِّهِ لَكَنُودٌ وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. In Surah At-Takathur, Allah says, أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ حَتَّى زُرْتُمُ الْمَقَابِرَ كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ ثُمَّ كَلَّا سَوْفَ تَعْلَمُونَ كَلَّا لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عِلْمَ الْيَقِينِ. In Surah Al-Asr, Allah says, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Man is so carried away by his pursuit of the materialism of this world. It's like the racing of horses. When they march and race, they leave behind sparks of fire with their hoofs. They leave behind dust along the way. They penetrate the territory of the enemy in search of their ambition. Man is indeed ungrateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He pursues materialism of this world with such unbridled ambition. And he testifies to it, he knows about it. And he's very ferocious when he's in search of the materialism of this world. In Surah Takathur, Allah says, man has gotten diverted from his purpose on this planet. He keeps on competing for the goodness of life. He will not stop until he drops dead and enters the grave. In Surah Al-Asr, Allah says, by time, man is in a state of loss. Man does not understand why he's on this planet. He pursues the wrong goals and leaves behind the right goal. Ila lezina manu wa amilu salihat watawasau bil haqqi watawasau bis sabr. Except those who believe in Allah and do righteousness and hold on to the truth of why they are on this planet, and hold on to the truth that they are returning back to Allah for accountability. And of course, they persevere even in the face of difficulties in the life we live. They persevere worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the ones who know why they are here, and those are the ones who will not be taken unaware on the day of accountability when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks them, "You have come empty-handed, the same way I sent you to dunya." Those of us who are not able to have enough, who are down below, we criticize those who are above or who are having so much. But the fact is that all of us are guilty of it. Take a look at your wardrobe. How many clothes are there? How many shoes are there? How long are you going to wear them? Whom are you leaving them behind for? It's not your desire to leave them behind for anybody, but you have no choice in the matter. You're going to leave them behind. What should bother you is not what you have now. What should bother you is what you have sent ahead that will be of benefit to you in the life after. The life does not end here. Only those who do not believe, who are going there to find themselves to be losers, they think it begins here and ends here. In here, ilaha tuna dunya namutu wa nahya wa ma nahnu bimab'uthin. They tell themselves that no, life begins and ends here. They are not going to be raised to accountability. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, no. By your Lord, Ya Muhammad, tell them, you will be raised to accountability and you will be questioned over what you did. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, this is why we are bringing these verses to you today, for us to sit down and ponder. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, "Afala yatadabbaruna al-Quran am ala qulubin aqfaluha." Don't they sit down and ponder about the Quran, or is there any lock in their ears that made it difficult for them to hear? These are powerful, powerful statements that we need to ponder about, my dear brothers, my dear sisters. The race for materialism of this world did not start today. Those who did it before, they left it behind as trash on the planet. Indeed, your acquisition in the planet is nothing but trash. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed the companies that came before and say we left them as what? As trash. Everything was reduced to rubble. They didn't take anything away. In Surah Al-Kahf again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ja'alina ma'alan aradi zinatan laha linabluwahum ayyuhum ahsanu amalan wa inna laja'iluna ma'aliha su'idan juruza. Everything you see on the planet, we allow it to be there as decoration. It's temporary. And we do so to see who of you will be able to make good use of them and understand the purpose of your existence. It's a test for you. But definitely, everything you see on this planet will be reduced to dust before the day of accountability. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, we are seeing the reality every day, but we are not learning the lesson. This is the most difficult part of the issue. We are seeing those who had no time to worship because of their pursuit of materialism of this world. They have no time to think about their Creator. Even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continued to ask them, what is deluding you away from Allah? What is taking you far away from Allah? Even when you know that you are going back to that Allah for accountability, man, what's your problem? We have seen such people. Every now and then, news comes. that that person is dead. That's a person who has that building, that business, those children, those wives, and so on and so forth. And suddenly left them behind. To him, at that time, those possessions have become trash. What is more important to him is the reality of his meeting his Lord. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, we need to ponder about this while we are still alive, so that we change our way and do that which will make it easy for us in this world and make it easy for us in the hereafter. Don't get me wrong. It is not wrong for you to seek the goodness of this life. Allah says in Surah Al-Baqarah, it is not an offense for you to seek the pleasure of Allah on this planet, the possession He has placed here for you. But what is a problem is you taking this enjoyment as an end in itself instead of being a means to an end. The actual end is your meeting Allah. These possessions are supposed to energize you, guide you, enable you to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that when you meet Him on the day of accountability, He will give you what is better than this. Allah says, أولئك الذين نتقبل عنهم أحسن ما عملوا ولا تجاوز عن سيئاتهم في أصحاب الجنة وعد صدق كانوا يوعدون. Such are the people, those who follow Allah, who obey Him, and even when they do wrong, they correct themselves and turn back to good behavior and remain good until they meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says we shall accept their deeds and reward them with that which is better. And even the mistake they make before, we shall turn it into great reward for them, into credit. This is a promise. It's a promise that is made and will be carried out. That one does not suffice for you. Instead, you are endlessly in pursuit of materialism of this world. You have no time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So on the day of accountability, this question will be posed to him, to be posed to me, to be posed to everyone. وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَتَرَكْتُم مَّا خَوَّلْنَاكُمْ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِكُمْ وَمَا نَرَىٰ مَعَكُمْ شُفَعَاءَكُمُ الَّذِينَ زَعَمْتُمْ أَنَّكُمْ فِيهِمْ شُرَكَاءُ لَقَدْ تَقَطَّعَ بَيْنَكُمْ وَضَلَّ عَنكُم مَّا كُنتُمْ تَزْعُمُونَ لَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ بَلْ زَعَمْتُمْ أَلَّن نَّجْعَلَ لَكُم مَّوْعِدًا وَوُضِعَ الْكِتَابُ وَتَرَى الْمُجْرِمِينَ مُشْفِقِينَ مِمَّا فِيهِ وَيَقُولُونَ يَا وَيْلَتَنَا مَا لِهَٰذَا الْكِتَابِ لَا يُغَادِرُ صَغِيرَةً وَلَا كَبِيرَةً إِلَّا أَحْصَاهَا وَوَجَدُوا مَا عَمِلُوا حَاضِرًا وَلَا يَظْلِمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. Those were verses from Surah Al-An'am and Surah Al-Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on the day of accountability, we shall tell man, you have come to us empty-handed, the same way we sent you to dunya empty-handed. You have left behind all the possessions. We did not see you now in front of us with those things that you claim were attractions to you, for which you share between us and them. We don't see you with them. You know why we don't see you with them? Because we have separated you from them. They have disappeared from you. They have denied you. They cannot be of any help to you at this time. Again, in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah says, you have come empty-handed. The same way we sent you to dunya empty-handed. You thought that this day will not be real. Then at that time, the book of records will be placed in front of you. There you will see everything you did in dunya as fresh as you were doing them. And when it is not good, you will cry. Yahweh letana. Destruction upon us. Man has a kitab. What kind of book is this? Like you got it, Sagirata or Lakabir. He didn't leave out anything, small or big. Everything's recorded. And recorded in such a manner that it looks fresh as if you are just doing it now. Yes. That's how it will be shown to you because Allah will not wrong you. Allah will not wrong anyone. It's your choice now to decide what you want to do. Woman, you already sawa dunya noti minha. Woman, you already sawa akhirah noti minha. Wasana jazi shakirin. Whoever loves the life of this world, we shall give to that person as much as we want to give. But whoever loves the life of the Akhirah, we shall not only give him what is good here, we give him what is better in the Akhirah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us what is better in the Akhirah when we meet him on the day of accountability. So my dear brothers, my dear sisters, ponder about this contradiction in human life. Pursuit of materialism of this world, spending your time, your energy, your skills, and at the end of the day, those things you love so much, you have no choice but to leave them behind and go away empty-handed. In that case, the question is, what have you gained? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take us away from shaitan and take the shaitan far away from us. Subhanallah wa bihamdik, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.